This is where it all started for me. This is my very first saltwater aquarium, my reef tank. And Mr. Saltwater Tank taught me everything to set this up. I just moved some new residents in here today out of my quarantine. If you remember, I had fish in my quarantine and those guys were ready to come in here. So I went ahead and drained down the ocean in that tank, took as much water out as I could, and then got the fish into a bucket, carried them in here, and then I drip acclimated them to this water, which I learned from Mr. Saltwater Tank, thank you. And then, you know, got these guys in here, and there's the newest guy. This is a bristletooth tang. He's just gorgeous. And then over here, this is why I just love this hobby so much, because I got guys like Cheese. That's my little yellow goby. He lives in a hole right over here with a little pistol shrimp that I had no idea that a pistol shrimp and a goby like that could have a symbiotic relationship and live together. But Cheese he's super fun. What a cool fish. But yeah, the tank's looking beautiful. I love it, but I can't put the fish that I want in here for a couple of reasons. One, it's a reef tank, and some of the fish aren't considered reef safe because, you know, they'll eat some of my inverts, or they'll eat some of my corals, or they're too aggressive for the other fish. So this is a great reef tank with a great mix of reef safe fish, and then I can have all the color of the corals, and it's right here in my office. I love it. But the new FOWLR tank, that's the one you're here to learn about, and that's where I'm going to be putting a really cool list of fish. It's a fish only tank. They call it FOWLR because it's fish only with live rock, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. It sounds like I will be able to put some types of corals or sea anemone in there, some things. We'll experiment as I get educated on that. But yeah, this looks great. But now it's time to go do some work on my FOWLR tank. Let's get to work. All right, next up is to install the plumbing for the overflow box. And the directions are super clear. Again, it's awesome having the manual online. I can pinch in. All these things are really protected. All the rubber O-rings all have the little plastic around them. And then these just fit right down in there. Okay, these look pretty straightforward. They just slide into the holes and screw them in until they click. Once I was done with all the overflow pieces, it was time to do the sump area and the much longer pieces. Now these pieces, they all come pre-assembled, pre-glued, and they just screw together. And then they click into some great little holders that make everything look nice, straight, and even. It's pretty simple. So now that all the main plumbing parts are installed into the cabinet underneath, I can get ready to put the sump in. Now this is the sump that it comes with, and it actually comes in two parts. If you look here, there's some holes, and over here in the cabinet there's some holes, and that's for a pass-through to add another sump section here. Now that's great for a reef tank. If you're going to do, say, a refugium, or you want a place to maybe put frags in there, you just need a larger sump area for maybe media reactors. I'm electing, since this is a fish-only tank, to not install the second part of the sump. So they give you an option to cap these off. So I'm going to cap these off, and I'm not even going to unbox the second section of the sump, and I'm going to use this instead for my auto top off, which is what some people use for their auto top off. So this is the Reef Can that will slide in right over here. And what I like about these is they're tall and skinny. cans, and they're designed for the Red Sea Autotop Off system, which is what all their Max systems come with. Now, a little tip, if you get one of these Max systems and you're going, hey, where is my Autotop Off kit? Because when I unboxed all this stuff, I could not find this thing. This is the Autotop Off kit that it comes with. They tuck it down inside the Overflow Box for shipping. So it was down in there with some foam, and I had no idea. I just didn't think to look in there. I actually called SaltwaterAquarium.com, and I was like, hey, my Red Sea tank didn't come with a auto top off. And they're like, let me ask Red Sea. And then a little while later, I got a message that, hey, look in your Overflow Box. So that's where this was. This is the auto top off system, and it also has a leak detector that comes with it. Titanium leak detector, has a little pump that goes down in here, pumps the clean water, and you just fill this up. It's nice because it's got a little graduated scale on here. It's kind of clear so you can see the water level. I do not have one of these on my current tank. I just use a regular 5-gallon jug, but I like that these are a narrower footprint because a lot of people don't use the tall space of their cabinet. So cool design on the Reef cans. The other thing about this being integrated with this tank is it has a little mount down in here for where your auto top off stuff mounts. So it's already built in the sump for that. You can see in the picture here where it mounts down there, and it's already built into the sump. And this is the one I'm most excited about that this kit came with. This is the Reef Mat. The Reef Mat is going to replace my filter socks. So these fish that I'm going to have are going to create a lot of waste. They're bigger fish. They eat a lot. So there'd be a lot of waste. And I'd be getting in there with the filter socks, cleaning them all the time down in the sump, bending over, getting the socks out of there. And this system comes with a filter sock system right here. But what's nice is it slides out. And I can just go bloop. I don't need it. And I can mount my Reef Mat, my roller mat in here. And this is on a motor, and it's just basically a filter on a motor that catches the waste and pulls it out, which is pretty cool. So I won't be using the filter socks. I won't be using the second sump. And it also has another piece of glass. You can section this off. So there's sections. There's a lot of ways to configure this sump. Here's the other thing about the Max kits that are awesome. They come with some other stuff. Everyone's going to end up putting a skimmer on there. Comes with the skimmer. It's got a self-leveling skimmer. My Nios one doesn't have that, which I don't think is a really big deal, but I've seen some videos online. These look like pretty great skimmers. So in addition with the filter the filter roll and the skimmer, hopefully that'll be enough keeping things clean. It comes with your flow pumps. I haven't used these kind yet. But again, when you buy a Max bundle, these things are all thought of together. And what's really cool is they all work on the Reef Beat app. So they're all on, I hope it's really cool, because honestly, I haven't used it yet. I do use a controller on my reef tank. I use the Hydros controller. I love the Hydros controller. I love that I can see my tank, see everything that's going on in there. It's very cool. Well, some of the functions will be right on the Reef Beat app, even though I'm going to be adding Hydros to this system as well for some of the things that are powered, like my heaters. There isn't a Red Sea heater, so I picked up these guys. These are the scuba heater from Seashay. I've got 2 of these that will be going in there, and then they'll plug into my Hydros system so I can monitor the power, and then that way also with the temperature sensor, if they get or they're stuck on or something, the Hydros will turn them off. We'll talk about that in a later episode, but I'm just showing you the equipment that the Max comes with, and it also comes with lights. So you get 4 of the Reef LED G2s. I've got one assembled here. I assembled it because I wanted to see what it looks like up here. And then I also wanted to make sure that how long the wire or the cord was for it, because I made a mount for the lights. So these just mount on the back like a lot of things you've seen like this. It slides into the mount. So yeah, then you get these lights mounted up here. You get all this tight. What's kind of cool about this mounting system, these fold away for when you're cleaning. Kind of a nice setup. And they look nice. They're not just, my other one's kind of a cheap flex arm, where these are nice machined parts. They even got little stops here, so the water doesn't get in where the wires pass through. So yeah, it looks kind of nice. They also come with this hood that's on here to direct the light. I can't just get it right off. Anyway, you can see there's a hood clipped on here. You can tighten those up. And I got 4 of those. These are really lights for a reef tank. So that was another thing that motivated me, because these are pretty good lights. And the ones I have on my reef tank aren't, their work, my corals are pretty healthy, but I think my corals are gonna do better with this kind of a light. So I might swap these with my reef tank and bring my reef tank lights out on here. Or I'm not really sure about if I can have corals in this tank. Some people, I've seen some tanks that have pufferfish, triggerfish that have corals in them. And so I'm like, okay, it can be done. It's done in nature, right? That's where these fish live, out on coral reefs. But some of them are gonna eat the corals and that kind of thing. So I gotta figure that piece out. So these lights may stay here. Oh, before we go, I do wanna point out some of the things about this tank and stand in their generation 2, or what they're calling their G2s. This all has Euro bracing at the top. So if you look, the glass is 3/4 of an inch glass with a big brace on here, and then a machined lip inside as well, for if you're gonna put, you know, obviously there's some lids have to go on here for jumping fish, but it's reinforced here. Not only is it reinforced right here, down inside along the bottom, it's reinforced. So there's glass piece all along the bottom down on the inside. This, you know, it's like a Euro bracing of the bottom as well. And then also in the corners. So each corner, instead of just 3/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch butt up and silicone together, there's also a triangular piece of glass that goes in the corner, down each corner, and that keeps the silicone from getting hit with your scraper. It's going to hit on that first. Of course, it's glued in as well, so you can still get in there at the scraper, but you're not going to get this seam with your scraper. The other thing that's unique about the new stand is there's a metal lip underneath here. Some of these Red Sea tanks used to hang over, from what I understand. I never owned a Red Sea, but I did a lot of time looking online, and some of them didn't have that before. So now the whole tank is actually being held by something instead of hanging over the front of the stand. This stand comes out all the way underneath the entire glass. Now, I did assemble this tank stand myself, and I did make some mistakes along the way. So I double and triple checked everything. And then I've had the level on here, I don't know how many times. The leveling feet are, once you put these boards in, you can't get to them anymore. These are down in there. I've leveled this many times, but I'm gonna be putting the level on it again when I get the sump in here, the doors on, the sand in here, the aquascape. Before the water goes in, the level's going back up here to make sure this thing is perfectly level before there's any water in there. Hey, let's do a montage. With just a few more steps left in the assembly, it was time to put the sump down into its place. It was a little heavy, so I had to have my wife help me. I got down on the ground, lined it all up perfectly, and then it was time to put on the last front braces. Now these are kind of an unusual design, so you have to adjust how long they are to make everything line up just perfectly. So I had to measure and make sure nothing got out of alignment and was still level. And then it was putting the hinges on the doors, got them all on there, lined up each door. Took a little bit of time to figure out just how they go on. turns out it's super simple. They slide into place and then you just push and they click. It's awesome. Yes, step 88, done. There it is. Got it all set up. Super excited. Now I'm ready to do some sand and some rock aquascape. Of course, I still got all my gear to set up down in my sump, my heaters, my skimmer, my reef mat, my return pump. So there's a lot more to cover. So be sure and come back every week where you see where I'm at with my FOWLR tank. And I actually just got some video clips from SaltwaterAquarium.com of the little fish they have in quarantine for me. So I'm super stoked. See you next week.